What's good, YouTube? Cowboy here, and today I'm going to be showing you why you don't need Assassin's Creed 3 to be a badass assassin. So, had a couple people requesting that I do a Zer0 video. I wasn't all that interested in the character initially, but, you know, if I'm going to be making videos on YouTube and there's something you guys want to see, tell me what you want to see, and I'm going to do it for you. Because, you know, that's what I'm supposed to do. I mean, if you're not making videos that your audience wants, then you're doing something wrong. But, Zer0. Crazy assassin, no face that we ever get to see. Let's get into it. But before we get into my specific build, I'm going to go with why I chose Bloodshed. So obviously, between the three different trees, you know, there's a lot of flexibility within Zer0, and the main reason I decided to go with Bloodshed is if you've seen my other class build videos, the one thing that's consistent across my characters is I look for consistency in my builds. You know, with the Siren, for example, I like being able to just mow through enemies. And by using all those elements, you can do that. In a similar fashion, with the Commando, between the turret shooting slag and rockets and your own gunfire, you rip everything's asshole wide open. And the same with the Gunzerker. I mean, when you're just Gunzerking indefinitely, you just rip face. So, when I got into Zer0, I said, alright, well, what can I do to make Zer0 efficient as possible? You know, I want to be able to kill and keep killing. I don't want to have downtime. And out of the three trees, I feel that Bloodshed is going to give you the best opportunity to do that. Now, I probably spent a good 4 or 5 hours today just respecking, trying everything out. So, on the other two trees, I'll say this. Cunning, I love some of the stuff in this tree, but Death Blossom is probably one of the most disappointing skills. I don't know if I just wasn't doing it right, but those little kunai felt like they were like little tickling flowers that I was throwing at somebody. I don't know. I would throw a kunai at a midget and it would be like hee 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 and not even take damage from it. It would take, well, that's a lie. It would take like half a health bar, but I mean, come on. For the final skill in your skill tree, I expect these kunai to explode someone's face when I throw them. Sniping, on the other hand, sniping is an awesome tree, and it does have quite possibly the highest damage potential out of any character in the game if you play it right. But at the same time, it requires you to have, you know, just a massive amount of coordination. You just got to be on top of your game, especially with critical ascension. You know, you're going to have to be like snipe, 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 snipe. And, I mean, on PC, I think it's a little bit easier. On a console, personally, I hate having aim assist on because I'll try to shoot one guy, and my aim assist is like, no, look at the midget over here. And I'm like, I don't want to shoot the fucking midget. I want to shoot the badass that's about to come over here and kick my teeth in. So without aim assist, it gets a little tricky to just pull off headshot after headshot. And in regards to that, I felt that critical ascension wasn't as strong as it could be. On a PC, I mean, you can just melt faces all day with headshots. So it's probably a little bit easier. But at the same time, you know, with a sniping build, you're purely reliant on your sniper rifles. And especially considering how heavy the multiplayer focus is in Borderlands, I felt that that's not a really, you know, for solo play, yeah, sure, okay, you might be able to get away with it, but especially if you're playing with friends, you're not going to want to be sitting in the back trying to snipe, because, you know, especially, let's say you got a full-rounded group, if you think you're going to have enough time to sit there and snipe, you know, 20, 30 people in a row, you're just ludicrous, because if you have a friend that's a Gunzerker, he's going to be going through just mowing down enemies, and meanwhile, you're losing your critical ascension because everybody's dying before you can get your headshots off. So, because of that, I said, well, what can I do that's going to be consistent? I can kill stuff fast, and I found that in Bloodshed. And the main reason for that is the final talent we get, Many Must Fall, which, if you haven't done Bloodshed before, this basically is going to let you to, when you kill an enemy with melee under Deception, you're just going to re-stealth, your deception timer is going to keep going, and it just, you know, keeps the fun happening. So, how do we build this Bloodshed tree to just slaughter everything? Well, we start with the basics. Iron Hand and Killing Blow. Obviously, 2 core skills, no downside to these. I mean, and this build's going to have a lot of health regeneration as well, so Iron Hand, it's 2 folds of awesome. I mean, we get melee damage and health damage. Obviously, with the legendary class mod, that gets up to 30%. Without it, you're sitting at 15, which might seem a little weak, but I mean, for a base skill, you know, it's extra melee damage. In a melee build, if you're not taking melee damage, well, you're not doing it right. And Killing Blow. Without the class mod, 500% damage. With the class mod, 1000% damage. I mean, with this skill, basically any enemy that gets low on health instantly has a big icon above his head that says, "You're bitch." Because you're going to walk up, you're going to slap him, and he's going to lay down how he's supposed to. So, Killing Blow is a great skill to get. I mean, it's a little bit tricky trying to run a melee build against boss fights. But this is one of those things where, if you're fighting, let's say you're fighting Terramorphous with some friends and you don't want to do the stupid ass B conference call combo, and you're like, hey, you know what, guys, let's try and do this without using some broken overpower combination and see if we can pull it off. Well, Killing Blow is going to be that skill that at the end of the fight, you're just like, "Pyaw!" and you slap the shit out of Terramorphous, and then he cries like a little girl and spits loot out for you. So, cool skill to have. Obviously, going to put a full 5 points into it. Now, that's going to open up, just those 10 points will open up these, these 2 rows for us. So, first up, we got Be Like Water, and the skill has potential, but at the same time, because it's going to alternate, so if we shoot an enemy, our next melee hit's going to get 30%. But after that, when we do that melee, we have the gun damage. And in a build where we're trying to just consistently melee, especially considering we're going to be doing it within Deception, what it's going to really come down to is we're going to get that first hit with extra melee damage, and then we're not going to see as much from Be Like Water, because we're going to keep meleeing, and it's going to be like, hey, bonus gun damage. Well, we're not shooting our gun, so that doesn't really help us. And in a similar fashion, we also are going to skip Backstab. And the reason for this is, although Backstab can get us, that extra 40% melee damage, we're not always going to have the opportunity to get behind our enemy. I mean, we take Execute, for example. When we're in Deception, we're going to be shooting from enemy to enemy, just back and forth, just slash this guy, slash this guy, slash this guy, and we're just trying to kill as fast as possible. And along with doing that, you're not going to have time to be like, oh, let me just run behind you real quick. And I can tell you right now, the bandits aren't just going to turn around and be like, hey, you want to stab me in my spine real quick, bro? Come on, let me just spin around. You can hit me right there. So, because of that, we're going to skip Backstab. There's more, I guess, better fruits for our labor here. I don't think that's the right term, but it's like 6 a.m. here, so I can't think too well. Anyway, moving on, we got Grim. And although we're not going to really need the shield regen, it never hurts to have a little shield regen. As you know, I'm a whore for shields, so I like Grim. But not only that, we also get the Deception cooldown rate. And that's what's really nice about this skill, because we're going to be in Deception the majority of the time with this build. And because of that, if our Deception goes down, we want to be able to get it back as fast as we can. And that's where Grim's going to come in. Your Deception's going to go down 1, maybe 2 enemies, and it's usually back up. So, no reason not to drop points in here. And in a similar fashion, Followthrough. And this is one of those skills that if you pass this, you just quit the game. I mean, we kill an enemy, we get 40% movement speed, 40% melee damage, and 30% gun damage. Well, the gun damage we're not concerned with, but even that 40% movement and melee, that is awesome. It's awesome. Especially because we're going to be going from kill to kill to kill. So, in that sense, you can pretty much look at it as just like a static 40-40, which, if you're not getting it, like I said, you're doing it wrong. And, of course, Execute. Probably one of the coolest override skills in the game. I mean, what's more fun than, rushing somebody with a ninja slash? I don't know. It's pretty entertaining. So, moving down our tree, we have Resurgence. And while Resurgence is a great skill, we're not going to need it. And the reason for that is we're going to be running the Law and Order combo. Now, Order is the shield, Law is the pistol, and basically, as you can see from the caption on Order, when you have Law in your hands, any melee damage you deal also heals you. And not only that, but hey, it's going to give us Roy damage. And what's nice about this is, whereas with Resurgence, we're only going to get, with 5 points, we'll get up to 20% health, and that's on a kill. With Law and Order, every hit we do, we're going to be healed for that damage. So if you do a melee swing for 100,000, you're getting 100,000 health back. And, I mean, if you didn't know about the Law and Order combo with the Assassin, try it out. It's, hands down, it's your bread and butter when you're playing a melee build. You got to have it. And the other nice thing about it is You can get that shield and pistol come from the quests offered by the sheriff in Sanctuary. One quest involves killing one of the lookalikes with the quintuplets, and the other quest is after Sanctuary gets off the ground, when you have the trucks can stand off with the 4 people and you got to figure out which one stole the money. But they're both very easy quests. You can do them at any time, so if you want to wait till the end of playthrough 2, you can go do them then and get level 50 versions of Law and Order. Or if you're doing, if you're just starting out your 0, you can get them at low level. And like I said, since we're focused on a melee build, honestly, this could be a level 6 fast law, and it wouldn't matter because it's still going to have 100% melee damage, and it's still going to have that combo with order. So regardless of what level you get it, you can still execute that combo of it very nicely. But obviously, because of that, we're not going to need Resurgence. So moving down, we have Like the Wind. As long as we're moving, 15% gun, 50% melee damage. And this is going to be up pretty much all the time. We're not going to be standing still and like, oh, let me just stand here and hit you. No, you're going to be moving. So consider that static. Unless you're, not running after people to hit them, then, like I said, you're doing it wrong. And then, of course, the last point in our tree, many must fall. And this is the core around the build. And like I said, this is an awesome skill. Every time you kill somebody, you hop into another deception, you redeploy another hologram, and this is going to let you just go from bad guy to bad guy to bad guy in awesome ninja assassin fashion. So, we have points left over. Where do we spend them? We hop over to Cunning. So, first thing in Cunning we're going to get is Counter-Strike. And this is an amazing skill to have. Because this doesn't count for just getting hit by melee, this counts for getting hit in general. So whether you're getting slapped in the face by Terramorphous, or shot by a bandit, or punched by whatever. You got a Varkid that bites you, I don't know. Either way, something hits you, and then you're going to hit it back for an extra 500% damage. Given that's with a class mod, even without my class mod, you're still looking at 250% extra damage. You gotta have this skill. This is just like, just free damage in terms of whooping someone's ass. No reason not to pick it up. Moving down the tree, Ambush. Increased damage from attacking from behind or when attacking an enemy who is targeting someone other than you. So, given it's 20%, and you might be saying, well, that doesn't make sense because you got that, but you skip backstab. Well, see, with backstab, we only get that bonus when hitting an enemy in the back. With ambush, we get it when we hit them in the back or when they're targeting somebody other than us. And since we're going to be in deception, majority of the time they're going to be targeting our hologram. So we get basically static 20% extra damage in deception, and in multiplayer games, the enemy's usually targeting the crazy gunzerker that's running around on top of everybody. So great skill to pick up. On the other side, we have Fearless, which, like I said, we're doing a melee build, so the gun damage and fire rate we get out of this just isn't all that useful for us, so we're going to skip that, of course. And then moving down into the tree, we have a couple of different skills with some potential here. So obviously we're going to want to point in Deathmark. We're going to be doing melee damage constantly. So right here, every time we hit something with melee, it's going to take an extra 20% damage. And although most targets are going to be killing in one hit, every now and then there's going to be that badass that you hit him and he doesn't die, but guess what? Now he has a death mark, so the next time we hit him, he's going to die. And not only that, but this is an awesome skill to have for boss fights. Like I said, if you're trying to, get away from the whole B conference call broken combo thing, and you're trying to play with some friends and, just have fun actually trying to take down bosses without using overpowered garbage, this is going to be an extra 20% for everyone. So, awesome skill to have, definitely worth investing the 1 point. Now, in terms of our split right here, we have Rising Shot or Unforeseen. And at first glance, you'd look at Rising Shot and you'd be like, well, hang on here. We get this, and it ends up being, 10% gun damage and just under 10% melee damage. So why wouldn't we get this? And the reason for that is, as you can see, faster weapons gain stacks more quickly, but slower weapons retain stacks for a longer period of time. Now, when we're using something like the Fast Law, since it's a Jacobs and it fires as fast as you can pull the trigger, that counts as basically like just super fast. And because it's super fast, the Rising Shot bonus will fall off near instantly. And I mean, given you're going to be moving from enemy to enemy, you're not just going to be sitting there meleeing something full time. And you don't want to melee and then keep shooting, because that's going to break your deception. So in the long run, a rising shot just won't be worth it. I mean, if you're on a boss fight where you can just sit there and, you know, slap the boss over and over and over again repeatedly, yeah, it would come in handy there. But aside from that, you're going to be losing this bonus constantly, which in the end run doesn't make it worth it. Now, the 5 points on Unforseen might seem a little bit odd, but the reason we're going to pick this up is because of Many Must Fall. Every time that we get a kill and it deploys another holographic, the effects of Unforeseen are going to trigger on the first holographic we had. So basically, when we kill somebody, the holographic that we already had up is going to do that shock damage. And rest assured, with 5 points, it is a good chunk of shock damage. Enough that usually it's going to almost kill somebody. I mean, in testing at least, and I'll definitely demonstrate it for you in just a second. But when I was doing it, most of the time it would end up completely blowing through the target shield and usually taking them down to about half health. So definitely worth checking out. So with just those points distributed, I believe that leaves us with 2 extra, which obviously, in similar nature to my other videos, I'm going to drop them in to go along with the class mod. So increased critical hit damage, and even though the skill is called headshot, you can get critical hits from melee, so I mean, extra 24%, no downside. And over here we have fast hands. Now, this one might seem odd. You're like, well, if we're doing melee, what do we need, weapon swap speed for? How is that going to help us? And the reason for that is, although we're going to be using Law and Order, the focus in using Law and Order is that it's going to keep us alive and heal us. Now, on the other hand, I also have a Ferocious Rapier. And this is one of the weapons you get from the Scarlet's Booty DLC, Curse of the Porcelain Fist, which basically means although you deal 200% melee damage, you take more damage from melee attacks. But, I mean, that's not really a drawback for us, because we're going to be killing stuff so fast, nothing's going to survive against us in melee range. So, what I do with this build is basically, majority of the time you're going to have Law out, so that you heal off all of your swings. But let's say you get into Deception and you're already at full health, you switch to the Rapier real quick, and then, right there, 100%, 200%. So you're adding an extra 100% melee damage to all of your attacks, and it's just going to let you kill stuff even faster. And then on top of that, if you go down, you're going to want to be able to switch between weapons. So with getting 5 points out of your legendary class mod, it's worth dropping the 1 point just to get that, the 30% reload and the 60% weapon swap. So, going into gear for this build, obviously, Law and Order are the basis. If you want to do a melee assassin, you have to have Law and Order. Like I said, getting a Rapier is also great because you get 200% melee damage. Not 100%, but I believe there are some other weapons that can spawn with 200%. There may not be, but, basically it's nice to have a secondary weapon that's higher than the 100%. If you can't find one, don't worry about it. It's not going to make or break you. Obviously, being as I found one with slag's pretty awesome, because if my deception does end, I can just slag something and then slap it in the face real fast. Aside from that, deliverance. I mean, you don't need to have a deliverance, but the more and more I play with this gun on my commando, the more I fell in love with it, and it's just such a great gun. Because I've said it once, I'll say it again, but when you fall down and that one bandit dips around a corner, you chuck Deliverance, and Deliverance gets the job done every time. And then, of course, good old Slagga. I mean, spray and pray and slag everything. There's no downside to it. I love it. Legendary Hunter class mod. Obviously, if you can get one, it's great to have. We get an instant 10% health every time we use Deception, plus 5 to 5 of our core skills. Cooldown rate, critical damage, reload speed, all great things. Grenade doesn't matter as much. I just picked the Quasar because, if I'm about to go on a crazy melee kill fest, I can toss one out, group a bunch of people up with it. And then finally we have our Relic. Now, there's a couple different choices for Relic within this build. I chose a melee damage one, but I'd also recommend a Vitality Relic. They both have benefits. It really comes down to your playstyle. If you find that you're going down more often than you'd like to, switch it up to a vitality, and it will significantly increase your health. Otherwise, strength roll's the way to go. I mean, it's an extra 30%. You know, no downside to it. Slap it on there. So, in similar fashion to my other videos, let's get to it and kill some bad guys. Midget boners. Ugh. I hate dealing with boners. Midget or not. But, deception. And gotcha. So, you can see you can just go from enemy to enemy. Ninja mode. See, this guy, the shield kept him alive. But that's alright. We got one kill. As you can see, deception's almost already back up. And there it is. So, once again, we're just going to be going from guy to guy. Oh, hang on, let me see if I can get him over to one to demonstrate the explosive capabilities. Bad Crusher. You can see we got a good chunk of melee damage. Like right there, we got the critical was 442,000. Pretty crazy. But just to show you the electrical potential. Oh, hang on. I'm not going to mess with that guy. My luck, the train will come and run me over. Come on, get up here. I don't want to get hit by a train. Alright. Well, if we can get this damn asshole to stop running, we can show you the potential of the electrocution. No. Bad Marauder. Get him, Deliverance. Go get him. Good job. Okay. Well, hang on. We're going to try and find somebody that has a full shield so I can actually demonstrate the potential of the electrical skill and what kind of damage it's going to do. Okay, here's a scavenger. Oh, for fuck's sake. Where'd he go? Oh. Oh, damn it. And the train stole my kill. Son of a bitch. Don't worry, we're going to find one. I told you guys I'm going to show you this. I'm gonna. I will take this Crusher, for example. Let's just do that. So, we're going to let it run out. Let's see how much damage he takes from the electricity. Well, not bad. For just health damage, it's pretty good. Obviously, it's going to do a ton more damage to shields. It'll completely clear shields off. And as you can see, the other nice thing about this build is you effectively become a tank. Bad Marauder. But as you can see, we have our... Right there, where'd that midget boner go? Oh. See, Law's taking care of business when it comes to healing us up. Alright. Come here. Get over here.
How hilarious. You just set off my trap card. Your death approaches.
Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a pretty fun build. I mean, probably the coolest thing about playing as Zer0 is your action cooldown time is really, really short. Oh, are we gonna get it in time? No, we're not. But as you can see, you can just walk around and bitch slap people all day. And then, of course, with Order Up, you also have the Roid bonus. So when there's a bunch of enemies, it really begins to shine. As you can see, we're just cleaving through shit. Oh, got him just in time. Where's this guy think he's going? Actually, this is perfect opportunity. So here we go. Guy with the shield. We'll deploy our shield out. And of course he's going to move away from it like a dick. But we're going to kill him anyway. But, I mean, that's all there really is to it, guys. I mean, it's a fun class to play, I'll give it that. I guess I was a little reluctant as I played Brick and Borderlands 1 as my first character and got pretty burnt out after doing a melee spec then, but I'll give it to Zer0. I think they executed melee a lot more efficiently in terms of like a whole melee built character in this game. Go Deliverance, taking care of business. Plus ninja slashing is just awesome. Oh, one more. No! Bad. Oh, what the hell? This guy like crawled inside of me. You will not escape.
Weakness is now known to me. Time
not do anything.
Stealth. Fear my skills.
Do. Another thing to keep track of is while you're in deception, you actually do more damage the longer you let it run. So, for example, if we wait until just about the end here, we will get a real fat crit on this guy. Let's see. See, just the explosion right there did 103,000. And then, of course, with all the bonuses to critical, it just makes Slagga that much more brutal when we hit someone's face with it.
This is the sheriff. Rumors that Lynchwood might become as civilized as opportunity are not to be believed. Let Jack have his ivory tower.
Look at this guy, thinking he's gonna get away. You don't get away from me. Cut you up. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you know, post a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Every time you don't like a video, a puppy gets lit on fire somewhere out in the boondocks of America. So think about that. But catch you guys with the next video. Like I said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.